A look at why Meigs County is asking voters to dig deep and pay for a new jail. And Alexander School District faces major cuts if the levy fails again. And in sports, the Houston Astros win the World Series for the first time in franchise history. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
WOUB has an exclusive look inside the more than a century-old Meigs County Jail. Good evening, I'm Lily Bradley. Thanks for joining us. We have the latest on a new jail levy in the county appearing on next week's ballot. Sheriff Keith Wood is pushing for this levy to build a new justice center. Newswatch reporter Michaela Marshall joins us live in the studio with more. Michaela?
Yes, Lily. Sheriff Wood and County Commissioner Randy Smith have been working since they took office 4 years ago to get this levy on the ballot. The Meigs County Sheriff's Office has operated out of this building. And up until 1984, the building served as the jail, the Sheriff's Office, and as the Sheriff's home. But now, in 2017, Meigs County Sheriff Keith Wood says his office can't do its job in a building this old.
We can't continue in a building built in 1894 and try to work in today's standards of policing. We just can't continue that.
Today, the building is falling apart. There is black mold, water damage, and structural decay inside and out. Major Scott Trussell is the jail administrator, and he says in the more than 30 years he's had the job, the building has never passed a jail inspection.
There's a lot of issues with the foundation is crumbling underneath of it now. The steps are separating. There's a 4-inch gap where it's moved. I can show you a window downstairs that the sandstone is deteriorated around it. You can actually put your hand outside of the window around the frame and touch the outside while standing inside the building.
Sheriff Wood says the layout of the facility creates some security concerns as well. Right now I'm standing inside the Meigs County Jail holding cell. About 2 inmates can be held in here for a minimal amount of time. And right when I walk through this door, I'm standing in the dispatch center, where everyday residents come through hoping to talk to the sheriff or file a complaint.
The public comes into the same spot here. This is where people get booked in. This is where our phone calls come in. This is our dispatch center that has everything in it. If you're coming in there for a license check for a CCW, get your permits, or you're coming in there to get booked in, you're all in the same place. You're all at the same location, and we've always been very concerned about that.
The Sheriff's Office and County Commissioners have spent the past 4 years coming up with a plan to build what officials are branding as a new Justice Center, and are asking voters in Meigs County to pass a $2.95 million levy to pay for the $9 million project. County Commissioner Randy Smith says residents can go online to the auditor's website to see how this would impact their taxes.
Raises it $100,000. It asks you for additional millage. In this levy, it's 2.95. Put that in, hit calculate. It tells you what your district is. It tells you what your tax rate is. It tells you that you're assessed on 35% of your property, so it values you at $35,000. Tells you that your additional tax is $103. This is annually. So then it tells you also what your total tax is. So it adds that to what your tax bill would have been last tax season.
Currently, the jail only holds up to 5 inmates at a time, and deputies spend most days transporting inmates to jails in other counties with vacancies.
Some people have had that problem, that know that they've called and it's been a while for somebody to get there because they were on the road. I think when the people that I've talked to, when they hear that we've got deputies that are driving thousands of miles a year outside the county to move people, and now they won't have to do that, they'll be here for when you call.
Last year, the county spent over $220,000 just on housing inmates around the state. And the sheriff says that we can keep that money local and generate profit by offering cells to other counties' inmates in this new facility.
The solution that we come up with this project actually generated revenue and jobs, and this was something that was going to keep our money locally. It's an investment for our future for our county.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Michaela Marshall. Tomorrow we'll have more on the community reaction to the possibility of a new jail in the county. Reporting live for Newswatch, I'm Michaela Marshall.
Thanks, Michaela. In the meantime, residents in the Albany area will see a familiar issue on next week's ballot. After failing to pass last November and May, residents once again have the chance to vote on the Alexander school levy. Newswatch reporter Josh Gregory is live in Alexander with more on the issue. Josh?
Lily, after failing last November, the school district has made major budget cuts, and if the levy fails again, the next round of cuts will be even more severe. And in addition to that, there is still some confusion in the community about what the school is currently doing with the money they have.
It's been very tight this year. There's some frustration because we are not adequately staffed.
For the third consecutive time, the Alexander School Board is proposing an operating levy on the November ballot to help fund the school district. Only this time, they're lowering their original 1.5% increase to a 1.25% increase that would last 5 years. The tax increase does not affect anyone on a fixed income, such as Social Security, disability, or retirement. Only those who live in the district and work. Communities that will vote on this include Shade, New Marshfield, Columbia Township, and the Albany area. With state funding not increasing in almost a decade, the district could be looking at harsher cuts than last year if the levy doesn't pass.
The cuts that we have made, I feel that the staff and the students are feeling those now. If the revenue is not going to increase, then I have to look at the expenses and find areas to cut.
In addition to more restricted busing and staffing cuts, Douglas says the board may have to look at athletic programs for those cuts.
We try hard to not have a pay-to-play, to not have participation fees.
But that could all change.
Rumor has it, if it doesn't pass again, we could possibly, the possibility of pay-to-play.
We are not a wealthy community, and we certainly don't want kids being able to play based on their net worth or their parents' income or what they have in their piggy banks.
Douglas and athletic director Brad Jeffers say the levy is not for more spending. However, there is still confusion in the community, even among those paid by the school.
Really just the citizens see it more as something for athletics, mainly because the wellness center, everything there.
But the wellness center won't be funded by the levy, a popular misconception of the proposed levy.
That facility is being finished and financed with the athletic boosters.
I don't necessarily believe that there's been good communication there of what exactly it's going to be used for. I feel like they'd be opposed to it for the sense of that. I think there's a fine line of trust that's kind of been broken there a little bit.
I think the community needs to realize that it's up to them, not the state.
It's kind of worrisome for us as a coach, as someone who's paid by the school.
We've worked very, very hard to stay within our budget, and it's getting very difficult to find other places to cut.
For WOUB, I'm Josh Gregory. If the levy fails again, those cuts would be announced in March, and if it passes, Douglas says she doesn't anticipate any big spending, and the district will remain as it is. Reporting live from Alexander High School for Newswatch, I'm Josh Gregory.
Thanks, Josh. Tomorrow, we will have the story around Issue 2 confusion, plus the potential impact the issue will have in this area. And if you've missed any of our other election stories, you can read and watch them online at woub.org. On election night, keep up with the results by following us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Jordan Vanacek. It was a very warm and mild day across the region in southeast Ohio. Let's take a look at our highs from today. It actually got up to 73, which is about 10 degrees above our normal of 63. Our low was also pretty warm, 55, 11 degrees above our normal low of 44. If we take a look at our temperatures across in Athens right now, 71 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Wind is calm, dew point around 56 degrees. Pressure is 30.06 inches and falling as we speak. If we look across the region, we're looking at temperatures in the mid-70s, looking at our warm spots of in Ironton and Ripley down at 74, and that is due to some warm air making its way from the south. That's with a warm front that made its way through the region earlier this morning. But yeah, looking at fairly warm temperatures for this time of year, Lily.
Great, maybe that cold and that rain can stay away just a little bit longer. Thanks, Jordan. A Kentucky man has been charged with murder following a crash that killed 5 people. 57-year-old Daniel Grice was driving on the wrong side of the road trying to pass another car. That's when police say he crashed head-on into that car, killing 5 members of the same family, 3 of whom were children.
Mr. Grice has been charged with 5 counts of murder, 1 count for each one of the deaths. Murder in Kentucky is a capital offense. It carries a punishment of 20 to 50 years or life in prison.
Police say Grice's blood alcohol level was over the legal limit. A West Virginia woman found drugs in her 3-year-old daughter's candy. Oak Hill police confirmed that the suspicious substance that the woman found was in fact heroin. Hundreds of people go to Hidden Valley each year to trick or treat. The mother says it's more like a street fair with a pretty active police presence, so people usually feel pretty safe there. One woman said, though, after hearing about the incident, she immediately dumped her children's candy bags and checked for heroin. The investigation is ongoing. Ohio has launched a new ad campaign targeting the state's opioid crisis. The Take Charge Ohio awareness campaign is aimed at prescribers, their patients, and the public. It includes TV, radio, newspaper, and online ads, as well as billboards, social media postings, and targeted emails. The $1 million campaign comes after over 4,000 people died from an overdose last year. A bishop in West Virginia is encouraging congregation members to carry naloxone. Klusmeyer says the overdose reversing drug should be given to members in the area and church members who might have drug problems. West Virginia has the nation's highest death rate from drug overdoses. Coming up, the GOP unveils a new tax reform, which could affect what tax bracket you're in. Plus, police release more information about the relationship between the New York City bike path attack suspect and ISIS. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere. Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
House Speaker Paul Ryan and GOP leadership revealing their proposal to overhaul the way Americans pay taxes. Some of the bill's key provisions include, first, reducing the number of income tax brackets from 7 to 4, the top at 39.6%, a near doubling of the standard deduction. Second, an expansion of the child tax credit, And then finally, for businesses, permanently lowering the corporate tax rate from 35% to 20%.
We know that this is necessary for faster economic growth, for bigger paychecks, to give people some confidence in this country and get our country back on offense, economically speaking.
President Trump called the bill's introduction an important step. In the meantime, the president is nominating Jerome Powell to lead the Federal Reserve, the world's most influential central bank. Powell will replace current Fed Chair Janet Yellen, who was nominated back in 2013 by President Obama. Yellen's term as the central bank's first female leader expires in February. It will be the first time in 4 decades that a new president has not asked the current Fed chair to stay on for a second term. Powell was among 5 candidates considered for the job.
Accordingly, it is my pleasure and my honor to announce my nomination of Jerome Powell to be the next chairman of the Federal Reserve. Congratulations, Jay.
A $100 billion company based in Singapore is relocating to the United States. President Trump announced this afternoon that Broadcom Limited, which manufactures communication chips around the world, will relocate its legal address to Delaware once shareholders approve the move. The company's corporate headquarters will remain in San Jose. According to the president, the move would bring $20 billion in annual revenue back to the U.S.
Broadcom Limited is moving its headquarters from Singapore back to the United States. With this commitment, more than $20 billion in annual revenue will come back to our cities, towns, and the American workers.
The man accused of plowing down pedestrians and cyclists on a New York bike path was devoted to ISIS. Police say he killed 8 people and wounded more than a dozen others. According to court documents, he wanted to display the terror group's flag in his hospital room. Sayfullo Saipov faces federal terrorism charges in a series of tweets. The president says he would love to send the terrorist to Guantanamo and that he should be executed. Trump's chief law enforcement official echoed the statement.
Terrorists should know this. This administration will use all lawful tools at our disposal, including prosecution in Article 3 courts or at Guantanamo Bay.
At the scene, investigators found multiple knives and a note pledging allegiance to ISIS. Sources say the married father of 3 was not on any terror watch lists. There may be a link between pesticide residue on fruits and veggies and infertility. That story still ahead.
And rain will be moving into our area later tonight, and temperatures will be warming up this coming weekend. I'll have more on that in your 7-day forecast next on Newswatch.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Jordan Vanacek. It was a mild day today. 71 degrees is our current temperature right now under mostly cloudy skies. Our dew point's currently sitting at 56 degrees with humidity of 59%. Pressure is currently falling at 30.06 inches. Looking at our temperatures for tonight, temperatures in the mid to upper 50s across the region. Again, it's going to be a little mild with that warm front that made its way through the area earlier this morning. But looking at tonight, temperatures in the mid-50s across Athens, mostly cloudy skies, isolated showers and rain moving into our area later overnight into early tomorrow morning. Winds out of the south-southwest at 0 to 5 miles per hour. Looking at our precipcast, we do have a region of low pressure centered in the northeast part of the United States with an extended cold front making its way into the Texas region. And as we head into tomorrow, that will move its way eastward, which will bring us that chance for rain I mentioned earlier. And then looking at our bus stop for tomorrow, temperatures around 58 degrees, chance of rain as the cold front leaves the region. Mild temperatures, winds south-southwest, 0 to 5 miles per hour. Looking at tomorrow, again, similar story, mild temperatures, 64 degrees, showers moving out of the area earlier in the morning with that cold frontal passage. And then our hour-by-hour forecast, 63 by 8 a.m., and it's actually going to be cooling down into the 56 degrees by noon and 53 by 4 p.m. But tomorrow, looking at temperatures in the low to mid-60s across the region. And then tomorrow for Sunday, we do have a severe weather threat to tell you about, and that's for the northwestern Ohio region and Indiana. So thunderstorms are possible Sunday evening into Monday morning in our region. But here's a look at our 7-day forecast. Saturday and the Sunday, 67 and 74. It's going to be another mild weekend. I'm looking at this being our last times we reach 70 degrees this year. So enjoy the warmth. Again, chances for rain Monday into Tuesday, thunderstorms Monday as well, and then cooling off later into the week.
Thanks, Jordan. A new study may have found a link between pesticide residue on fruits and veggies and infertility or pregnancy loss in women. The study, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, looked at the diets of women facing infertility treatment. Researchers say more information is needed to determine the exact link between the two. However, if you are trying to get pregnant, they say to eat foods with a lower amount of pesticide residue, including avocados and corn.
I'm Paul Roth. A star NFL quarterback suffered a season-ending injury today. We'll tell you who. And last night, the Houston Astros were crowned 2017 World Series champions. I'll tell you how it all went down when Newswatch returns.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back, I'm Paul Roth, and here are today's sports stories. The MLB season was capped off last night by decisive Game 7 of the World Series. After giving fans some of the most exciting World Series games in recent history, Game 7 left much to be desired. The Houston Astros went into Dodger Stadium last night and came out with a 5-1 victory over Los Angeles. The Astros jumped ahead early as they put up all 5 of their runs in the first 2 innings, capped off by a George Springer home run. And speaking of Springer, he took World Series MVP honors, and here's what he had to say after the game.
I'm so happy to be a part of it, to bring a championship back to a city that desperately needed one is a surreal feeling.
It was the franchise's first World Series title in their 55 years of existence. And while the city of Houston was in the midst of a World Series celebration, their football team took a huge hit. The Texans' rookie quarterback Deshaun Watson tore his ACL during practice today. Earlier today, Watson was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Month for October, the first rookie QB to win the honor. Another NFL star, Colts quarterback Andrew Luck, was also officially ruled out for the season. He has been dealing with a shoulder injury for 2 years now. This just adds to a laundry list of players, prominent NFL players who have suffered season-ending injuries. And tonight marks another game for Thursday Night Football as the Buffalo Bills take on the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium, with kickoff starting at 8:25. This is the 3rd year in a row the Bills and Jets will be facing off in a color rush Thursday night game. The first year almost caused a national uproar with the all-green and all-red uniforms, as 8% of the male population were unable to watch the game due to color blindness. To prevent any further controversy, the Bills will be in all-white, while the Jets will sport their traditional all-green uniforms. Now back in Ohio, the Cleveland Cavaliers continued their skid last night, dropping their 4th consecutive game, a 124-107 loss to the Indiana Pacers. The loss dropped the Cavs to 3-5 on the season and have many wondering what's happened to this formerly dominant team. 4 of their 5 losses have been by a margin of 17 or more points, and only one of the teams they have lost to made the playoffs last year. The team will look to rebound tomorrow night when they travel to Washington to take on the Wizards. The 8-4 Columbus Blue Jackets will be headed to Florida to do battle with the 4-6 Panthers tonight at 7:30. The Blue Jackets are looking to string together a win streak after they squeaked by Boston last night 4-3 on Monday. And Florida is looking to bounce back after dropping their last outing 8-5 at the hands of the Lightning. I'm Paul Roth, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Lily.
Thanks, Paul. More than 100 pets from Puerto Rico are getting a chance at adoption in Tampa Bay. It's all thanks to a group of volunteers from Suncoast Animal League and an anonymous donor who offered the use of a cargo plane. When the storm ravaged the island, it not only destroyed the homes the pets had lived in, but also many animal shelters. The pets should be ready for adoption by the middle of this month.
Thank you, Lily. We have warm temperatures making their way into the area this weekend with thunderstorms Monday.
I'm Lily Bradley. Thanks for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.